Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Starting in the 70s. Today, we're going to be talking about duelists. Now, duelists are a character that is pretty easy to drift to when you're new at the game or you're just solo queuing and you're looking for some fun. They give you util designed for just running around and looking for fights. Now, this is fine if you're just playing an unrated game or you're looking for some casual fun. The problem comes when you're in a ranked game and, it's a super close game and your team needs you to just entry for them or make some space for them, and you don't know how to do that. So today, we're going to be looking at some tips to help all of you duelist mains learn to play duelists the right way and help your team instead of trying to be a hero every round. To get into it, we'll start off with, you know it, you love it, a general tip for all duelists. This tip is very simple. It is going to be use your microphones. Now, this is a tip that eventually, when I start to actually grow an audience, every single one of you is going to watch this. They're going to go, dude, shut up about calming all the time. But it really is that important to this game. Picture this. You're a duelist player, and you're entering into a site. When you do that, it is your game and your fights with the player on site. But imagine if that person with you was flashed, concussed, revealed, prowled, or even just actually isolated because your smoker was keeping his team out of the site. When you're entering a site, it is you that dictates the success of the play. But your teammates can help make it a lot easier for you if you simply just tell them what you want. That is their agent in their role. They're built to help you. Just let them know what you need. We're going to be doing this list alphabetically, so our first agent that we have is Jet. Now my tip for you Jet players is do not die with smokes available. Now, obviously, this rule won't be as extreme as it's written out to be, but this is your goal right now for Jet players. Use your smokes. Your smokes are amazing, and the versatility they offer you gives you so much freedom to play the game in a multitude of ways. Whether you choose to get a molly for 4 seconds if you one-way using them, or you use them as a pseudo dash to reposition. You just chuck it at your feet and the enemy doesn't know where you are. It effectively has the same use. If you use them as entrying, where you dash into them onto a site and you can come out of any angle, basically, there's a million ways to get good value with your smokes. And I promise that if you go into a game with the mindset of, I need to use my smokes more, you will become a better Jet player every single match that you play. Moving on to the next agent on our list, we have Neon. For the Neon tip, learn lineups for your concussion blast. Now, Neon players, I'm sorry. Neon is, in my opinion at least, one of the best characters in the game right now. And part of what makes her incredibly strong is the concussion blast that she gets on her Q. The sad part about this, though, is that I see low-level Neon players who only know how to use these by just chucking them in the face of any enemy that they see. This is a recipe for just getting shot and going, timing, I had my util out, when that's not really the truth of it at all. It'll take some time, but if you go into custom games and learn safe lineups for your concussions that hit common areas people play, you'll immediately find that it helps you live more, meaning you can buy rifles more often and keep your guns, and you will frag more, meaning you can hopefully win more rounds. The good thing to take away is that while the tip is hard and it can be time consuming, you are playing a very good character, and one that's probably not going to be bad anytime soon. So there's going to be a lot of value to learning to be good at Neon. And after Neon, we have Phoenix. The tip for Phoenix here is stop using all of your util to heal yourself. Listen, I hate the way that Phoenix was designed for gameplay. On paper, the idea of a duelist who seeks out fights and uses their util to heal afterwards can be neat. Phoenix is cool, Reyna's cool. In reality, this has created the worst breed of players I think I've ever seen in this game, and it makes me feel boiling anger seeing Phoenix in my games. Phoenix, as a character, is underwhelming, but his util's not necessarily bad. His flashes are pretty good given the speed update recently. His ult is great, and it only costs 6 ult points. But then you have his molly and his wall, and these moves are very niche, and they have their place somewhere, but a large majority of low elo Phoenix players that I've seen have the mentality of, oh, these abilities are bad, so I'll just use them to heal myself instead of wasting them. And when the meta has shifted into mostly being chamber and one duelist only, not having any util from a duelist to help you entry a site is brutal. As a Phoenix player, please hear me out when I tell you that your wall is not as bad as you think. And it can help you incredibly to cut off space or vision from defenders on a site. Your molly does an absurd amount of damage, and the only downside to it is the range drop-off. But there are ways to work around that, and you can find angles that you want to clear that are closer to you than 25 meters. And listen, I beg of you all, healing is fine with his util, but your priority as a duelist is to take space and to help entry sites. If that job is finished, then you can worry about using whatever's left to heal, but focus on what's important first. Please. Next up on the list is Raze. The tip I have for Raze players: you don't have to be flights if you want to learn to use your satchels. Space creation is a term that you're going to hear a lot when you're talking about duelist characters, but I don't think a lot of people really go over what they mean when they say duelists should create space for the team. Satchels are one of the prime examples of space creation, and I'll explain why. Imagine you are this defensive anchor player, and you know that the attackers are going to run onto site through this doorway that you have smoked. It's not too difficult for that defensive anchor to just shoot someone that runs through the smoke. They're generally all going to be moving at the same speed, and the head level is always going to be the same. It's just down to the defender to mess up. Now, imagine that same scenario, except right before the people start running through the smoke together, a Raze comes soaring through the air above that anchor. You now have forced the defensive player to make a losing choice. Either they look at the Raze and try to hit this crazy shot to stop that entry and get shot by the follow-up, or they look at the rest of the team following up and they likely get killed by that Raze who they weren't paying attention to. That is the concept of space creation. And as Raze, it's not the hardest thing in the world to learn basic satchels that'll give you the effect of creating space. You don't have to be a professional Raze YouTuber that does some insane satchel plays to make up space. Honestly, if you just load up into some Spike Rush games for a couple days and you just play Raze and you really focus on satcheling into enemies the whole game, you'll get a feel for the timing of these plays in no time, and you'll get to creating space for your team every game. I don't really want to have to do this one, but following Raze, we have Reyna. My tip for Reyna players is don't play this agent. Actually, please stop playing Reyna if you want to improve and win games. She does not add value nor space creation to your team comp, and yet we still see her in every single game that is anywhere from iron to plat, even diamond lobbies that I've seen. But if you're committed to thinking she's a cool agent and you're going to play her anyway despite her being terrible, the actual tip is to flash to make your opponents flick to you. The tip here is for something pretty basic, but it still gets overlooked by a good amount of Reyna mains that I've seen. The fact that Reyna's flash can be shot immediately, and that takes the utility away, makes it pretty bad. But the harder it is for an enemy to shoot both it and you, the more value you can create with the flash. A good idea when using it is to either try and send the flash pretty high in the air or like down into the floor. That way, if the enemy shoots the flash, they can't rely on crosshair placement to kill you, and they have to actually hit a good flick to try and do damage to you. And finally, we have the last agent on our list, Yoru. Now, Yoru is a very hard character to make a tip here for, because I believe that his full potential as a character can make him unbelievably good, and really hard to deal with. The only issue with this is that I think it can be very difficult to get large value out of him unless you're working super hard. A tip that I have to compromise between difficulty and value for lower level players is to think of Yoru less as a deception agent for a whole team and more for one targeted enemy. Yoru can be very hard to get great value with if you're trying to take out a whole site filled with defenders. But if you can pair Yoru with the ability of Fade to take away players' audio, or something like Breach's range and ability to control space from distance, you can make one single player's life feel impossible. And that's about the best value that you can hope for with Yoru, without having to feel like it's grand finals of VCT champions and you're making a game-winning play, putting the team on your back. Just keep it simple and target one player to give your team a 5v4 advantage in a round. Alright guys, that's all the tips I've got for today. Hope this can help you go out and carry some ranked games. If you enjoyed the video, check out some others that I've got, or subscribe and stick around for the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.